Here we've got a 66 twin reverb that came in, and the owner really likes this amp, and he says it sounds great, but he wanted me to go through it and make sure that everything was done exactly the right way. So I can tell it's got a high quality grounded power cable. I've not checked how it's installed yet. I can see the death cap is there, and no big deal so far. It's got that beautiful nickel chassis that they were still using in 66. I'm not sure when they changed over to the less pretty stuff, but this is the good stuff. All the iron says 66. Let's see what's under the doghouse cover. I've taken the screws out, but not peeked inside yet. All right, it's got some resistance to it. All right, Sprague Adams. Original resistors. So 8080, 2020, and looks like these are from 2021. So I don't use Sprague Adams because these caps are no longer nearly as good as they used to be inside these relatively large capacitors or small ones, and they're just not worth the price. There are better capacitors on the market. However, if these are working, there's no need to reinvent this particular wheel. Like most cap installs, these don't seem to have any mechanical support beneath them. In this case, this stuff is still putting some pressure on them when they're in place. I will measure these resistors and see if they need any help. I'm not a big fan of carbon composites in the power supply. There's no tonal benefit to it, and they're just likely to fail. 1.187K, 5.25K, so still very much within spec, a little bit high, not too bad. What I can do is change out the resistors, but leave the atoms in place. I'll check and make sure that these things are mechanically secure at each end. But let's take a look at the rest of the amp, shall we? Well, the front panel is just as clean as you could wish for. This thing's in immaculate shape. I always just put all the tone controls to noon, so the first time I hear it, I have a pretty good sense of whether it's in the ballpark. That one feels a little bit wobbly. Might just need a little turn on the set screw. Keep the volumes and reverbs and tremolo stuff off for initial testing. Looking through here, no big surprises. Let's go through the whole thing together. Well, the new power cable does have the ground longer than the hot and neutral, but it's just going to the transformer mounting hardware. This stuff always becomes loose over time. I'll redo all these grounds here to chassis. You've seen me do that in other amps where they have the transformer mounting bolts used for the grounds. You can see the death cap is here. It is still physically in the amp. It is not connected. And they've got a not very nice looking splice there. Electronically, it's okay, but there are better ways to do that. But they have the fuse on the neutral, and the hot is being switched. There are better ways to do this. Things called electrical code. This is not me imposing my opinion. This is the opinion of the electrical code. Behind every code like that, there is someone who got hurt very badly, if not worse, by doing it the old way. So we will not do it the old way. It's got the original screen grid resistors here. These often fail, especially in twins. They get kind of hot. Let me measure those real quick. 595, supposed to be 470. 599, 562, 576. So yeah, they're all quite a bit out of spec. So those need to be changed out for some new 3-watt 470s. Checking the grid stoppers, we got 1.75. This was 1.5, 1.7, 3.58K. And 1.67. So yeah, that one's crazy out, more than double the value it started out its life as. So I'll replace all the grid stoppers, all the screen grids, redo the power wiring. Let's look at the bias stuff. Well, they've changed out the one resistor, but all these original diodes, I've found that it's not too uncommon for these diodes to fail at this point in their lives. So I like to just verify that they're still okay. Getting 3 volts drop across that one. I would typically expect more like half a volt. I'm just getting too much of a reverse voltage on that one. At least that one needs to be changed out. Diodes are very inexpensive, but they're very important to the function of the amplifier. So I'm going to change all 7 of them at about 75 cents total cost in terms of parts. Because if this fails, you can have crazy things happen in the amp in terms of the rectification, or nothing happening in the amp. But if the bias diode goes out, this one here, and you lose your bias supply, you can lose $200 worth of output tubes, if not have damage to a transformer. So, your choice. Spend about $1 or spend a few $100. That should not be necessary. I'll see what they were doing. They probably wanted to keep the original and add another one in parallel to lower that value without replacing it. And that may be okay. If, functionally, 2 half watts in parallel like that is the same as 1 watt. There's no real downside to it. Just it's a little funky looking and usually not necessary. All the jacks and switches and pots seem to be original. They look okay. I won't know how they sound until I try them, but nothing is standing out. I'm inspecting these soldered connections to the brass here, and they all look just fine. So that's all good. It's nice to see everything being so clean. All the cathode bypass caps have been changed out for these sprigs. Again, using the old lead to J-hook there. It works. It's just not mechanically as good, and it kind of denotes someone who wanted to rush this off their bench. The 3 caps here in the LFO have been changed out. In stock form, they're 20 nanofarad, 10, and 10. They've got 22, 22, 22. This is going to be a very slow trim. I'll listen to it. I'll talk to the owner, see if he wants me to put it back to stock. A little bit faster, but not as fast as the stock. But this would be ultra mega slow, which may be ideal. It's a personal preference. Within the realm of the safe, there's just what you like. And if he likes this, that's great. We'll listen to it later. It's got the 22 microfarad cap here, bypassing this 100K on V5B. That's what's on the schematic. However, what Fender actually put in production on a lot of these was a 5 microfarad. Closest modern equivalent is a 4.7. I prefer the 4.7. And the only difference that gives is with the smaller cap, the 5 or the 4.7 microfarad versus the 25 or 22 microfarad, is that as you turn the speed pot, the tremolo changes at the moment that you change the pot. With the 25 or the 22 like this, you turn the speed pot up real fast, and the tremolo stops for a second and then catches back up to you. And it's just a nicety. One capacitor makes the experience of using the speed pot more intuitive. And they've got a silver mica here on the input to the phase inverter. This is a 1 nanofarad or a 1000 picofarad CDM labeled silver mica, and it is probably just fine. It's the ones that just say SM as opposed to CDM that I don't like to have in any amplifier, because the generic ones that just say SM, who knows where they're made. They are expensive for what they are, and they're very prone to failure. The CDM ones are much less problematic, and that's not opinion, that's repeated experience. It's possible that this one has problems, but it's not very likely. If this said SM, if it's generic, I would replace it on site. Here's something I do on every old amp that comes in. Though I haven't shown it in a while, I like to go through and just quickly measure every resistor. I know what's supposed to be there. All right, the ones that are of concern to me, this 100K measures 134. This 82K measures 122. That's not good. This 100 ohm measures 130 ohm, and it should be measuring slightly under 100 ohm. Let's see. This 220 measures 290. And then up towards the front, 152.5K. So those are the resistors that measure out of spec. That does not mean that the amp is sounding horrible. It also does not mean that those are the only bad resistors. It just means that those are volunteering themselves. Let me hook up a speaker and test it and see what it sounds like and make sure the reverb's working and all that fun stuff. All right, taking out a standby. Pretty significant hum. I did replace that one diode already. It's just temped in place in the bias supply. I didn't want to take a chance on the bias going south. So I've got the channel volumes off and the reverb off and the tremolo down. A lot of microphonics off V1. The others seem okay. Let's check the normal channel first. Let's see if cleaning up that mids pot takes care of that. Trying to get it lined up so it all goes inside the pot. It's a very small quantity we put in there. Well, looky there. That's much nicer. And on the reverb channel, vibrato channel, still some hum on the normal channel, but that tube's really microphonic. I'll put a little bit of deoxit in the bright switches. Clean up those contacts. That hum on this channel is also on the channel that has that 150K plate resistor. It started off its life as 100K. Make sure that these are shunting. All right, they are not shunting. It's another part of that noise, but it is not due to metal fatigue. I think it's just dirty contacts. And here, I can make these go noisy. Like that. So the easy way to do that is to put a plug into the normal channel, which will open those contacts. Give it just the tiniest bit of deoxit. If I need to, I'll get in there with some very fine, like 1200 grit paper, and move it back and forth a few times, just get the oxidation off. But this usually does the trick. Do as little as possible, if that makes sense. Might be a little metal fatigue there. Let's see if I can help that out. Yeah, much better. Much nicer not to have that hum present. I guess you're not seeing what I'm doing there. Sorry about that. To get that metal fatigue addressed, put the plug in so I'd have something to move against. And there's that little shunting bit of metal. I'll use these pliers just to push it up. Gently but firmly. Again, do as little as possible. Let's see what this is sounding like in a very general sense. Much better without all that hum and buzz and crackle. Let's move on to the other channel. That bass is not doing much at all. Yeah, that channel doesn't have much low end whatsoever. That does not mean that the bass cap in that tone stack is bad. It could be anywhere else in the chain after that. So I will work backwards from the phase inverter and find out. Let's check the reverb. Now this is not the tank that came with it. This is my tank, my test tank, which doesn't sound as good as an old one. But it's convenient to have on the bench. So let me put the reverb back up just slightly, then we'll try the tremolo. I said, let's try the tremolo. I can see the LDR flashing, the neon flashing. But I can hear it pulsing in the output, but I'm not getting any tremolo effect. That's probably caused by a bad LDR, where the bulb's still flashing, but the LDR is not picking up on it, so there's no change in resistance. There's not a lot of low end there. What I'll do in a few minutes is I will lift this end of the bass cap from the tone stack and the mids cap. Might just disconnect them at the pot end and measure them to see if they are in tolerance. But it's very unusual for one of these Blue Ajaxes to go out of spec like that. So I imagine it's something else. As far as the circuit goes, for the return of that channel, and it could be the tube. I'll check the tube. The cathode resistors seem to be okay. The bypass caps certainly are new. Out of that channel goes to this 20 nanofarad cap, which may be bad, and has a 500 picofarad, which goes to a 1 meg grid, and that's the feed to the reverb driver, but it also splits off here through this yellow wire, goes to this 3 meg, which is actually like 3.7 meg at this point, bypassed with a 10 picofarad, gets mixed with the reverb, goes to this next stage, then comes out through this 100 nanofarad, and then goes to the phase inverter input. Now, those phase inverter mixed resistors measure just fine. And the high pass is set by this going to here, which has one path of the mix to this, but it also has the 100K of the tremolo intensity pot, which is a fixed resistance in this circuit. So it should have plenty of low end. Well, that measures the correct 50K, 48.8K at least. And as the pot solder joints are easier to disturb than the factory solder joints on the board, we disconnect the mid and base connections at the pot, because that'll be easy to put back seamlessly. Now I want to measure whether this really is a 47 and this really is a 100. All right, so it measures 49.14 nanofarad. And this one measures 93. So both of these are very much in spec. I'm going to reconnect these and power this on, check for DC voltage in this area. I suppose I should have done this before disconnecting the wires and measuring the caps, but I'll make sure these pots are in the right spec. 234.5, 9.15. So yeah, they're in spec. A little bit low on the base, but not enough to explain that total lack of low end. All right, taking out a standby. Turn the volumes off and the reverb off. I'm going to check for DC on the board in the common places. We got 250 volts. 250 millivolts here, where the output of the first channel comes through that 47 nanofarad. Got 1 volt here at the output of this cap. That's not a leaky cap. That's voltage leaking from this eyelet to this eyelet through the board. I've shown that before. This voltage over here may be leakage from over here, but it also could be in the blue wire from touching the yellow cloth, which has got, half a volt on it. It could also be leakage down here, where I've got 50 millivolts just in the board there. At 200 millivolts at the input to the phase inverter. Vibrato channel, it's got 50 millivolts, and it should have the same 250 here on the normal channel. Yeah, because that's just blue wire coming across there. Got a half a volt on the board itself in most places, sometimes a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. What do I have here at the junction? The gap between the plate and the bias supply, only 80 millivolts, so that's good. But this entire board needs to be cleaned. You guys have seen me do that on DC. So I'm wondering, as far as the low end goes, the mids also don't seem to be as effective on the vibrato channel as I might expect. It seems to be very treble forward. I'm thinking it's possible the slope resistor is faulty. It measures pretty close to in spec when I measured it off, but a resistor's resistance when it's cold and a resistor's behavior when there's voltage across it, and there's a couple hundred volts here, usually 200 volts-ish, can change. And so if this is not sending enough signal to these caps, we're going to get a treble dominant channel, which is what it sounds like. So I would not be surprised if changing this out restores the balance. And that resistor is sounding okay right now, the 150K. That used to be 100K, but it could fail at any moment, so it needs to go away. Overall, though, this amp's in pretty good shape. I will talk to the owner after he's seen this video, and we'll get a game plan for what changes to make, what to leave. But, just getting the tension right on those input jacks and getting the crack out of the pots has made this thing 100% better already. Think how much better it'll be when all these remaining things are gone. And of course, it'll have a functioning tremolo, and then he can hear whether he likes that extremely slow speed there or not. So until then, thanks for watching.